Welcome to Meliorm, and this is Deck Tech, where I run through one of my commander decks and teach you how to play it. On today's docket, we have my Atraxa Poison deck, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on in. Alright, so the commander for this deck is Atraxa Prayer's Voice, which is now like $100. But the reason why I say it's just a poison counters deck is because this deck used to be infect-based because that was the main way that you could get poison counters. However, now with the introduction to Toxic, there's a lot more options. But that covers the primary strategy. Let's go ahead and get to some of the combos. Now the primary win con is kind of in a roundabout way through combat damage, which basically also means that there's not a whole lot of combos that you can just win by. Now there are a couple that are kind of interesting that kind of help like accelerate the proliferation or just help give your opponents more poison counters. The first one being a lot of land drops with Evolution Stage. That just kind of helps accelerate that. But the other big one is if I have like either Vorinclex or Doubling Season out, I can immediately use the ultimate ability on Vraska, Betrayal Sting, and just kind of give my opponents a whole lot of poison counters very quickly. And then whenever they get the poison counters, I believe it also doubles again. So it could just take them out very quickly. But let's go ahead and dive into the notable cards because that's where all the fun happens. Going into the notable cards, we're going to choose a handful from both the original deck and the new upgrades that just went through. Just because there's a lot of like really powerful cards that I just threw in here because they're really fun. But also there is a fully comprehensive deck list in the description below if you want to check that out because there is a lot that we're not going to cover. So the original deck contains Vorinclex and Doubling Season, which essentially serve the same purpose of doubling your poison counters whenever you would hit someone with Infect. There's also Darksteel Reactor, which kind of serves as like an alternate win condition. All the proliferation kind of helps those counters build up really quickly, so if someone keeps board wiping your stuff, you have a different way to win. There's also Phyrexian Obliterator and Blightsteel Colossus. Phyrexian Obliterator kind of just acts as a deterrent so you can kind of build your board state. And Blightsteel Colossus is an 11/11 with Trample and Infect, which basically is enough to take someone out of the game, which is super handy to have on hand even though he is 12 mana to cast, so he's a little hard to get out. I don't think I've successfully got him out onto the battlefield. Now moving into the upgrades, there's a lot of them. Phyrexian Vindicator kind of does the same thing as Phyrexian Obliterator. Just instead of sacrificing things, you can just redirect damage so people are less likely to hit you. Personally, I think the Obliterator is much more powerful, but we're not gonna have that conversation. Tyrannex Rex is like a really expensive like mana cost card to kind of get out, but once it's out, it's really hard to get rid of. So that's kind of a really great like mid-game kind of game changer. Vraska, Betrayal, Sting, pretty much any Planeswalker does very well in this deck because of Atraxa's end step proliferate ability, so you essentially keep building all those loyalty counters. Skrelv Deflector Might is surprisingly powerful as well because it's really cheap to get out for early game advantage in developing your poison counters. However, it also has the ability to make some of your creatures unblockable, which if you have Blightsteel Colossus out, that can also just take people out of the game. And last but not least, there is Venerated Rotpriest, which whenever someone starts targeting you with spells, they get a poison counter. That is really dangerous for them to start doing whenever you have so many proliferate abilities. So they're going to end up hurting themselves more than they hurt you. And that just about covers the notable cards. If you enjoy the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel just because that does help me out substantially, but also that there's a lot of Magic the Gathering content coming down the pipeline really soon, and a lot of other stuff, so I'm excited for you all to see it. However, with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll learn something new in the next video.